Hey, I'm Doyle. I'm the armchair analyst. I'm sitting here
Is he Italian?
on my... I don't know what he is. I've never seen him. Hey, I'm Matthew Doyle. All right? Yeah, you might have heard of Tommy Scoops, okay? He's my cousin back over from Italy. He likes to find things that fall off the back of the truck. Anyway,
What did Doyle have to say about Seattle's biggest transfer need?
I'm the armchair analyst, okay? The Seattle Sounders, they got 3 DP slots. They're taken. Pedro de la Vega, Jordan Morris, Albert Rusnak. U22 slots, they got 1 of 3. Taken up by the one and only Josh. Doesn't play enough games, Atencio. All right? They got 4.2 million GAM. How much GAM? Enough GAM that you could buy something or someone. With the additions of Jesus Ferreira and Paul Arriola for a huge chunk of GAM, and by retaining Rusnak signed a 2-year DP deal, and João Paulo signed for 1 more year at something around $700,000, CSO Craig Weibel kept the most important parts of last year's Western Conference finalists together while adding top-end quality and depth to the team. That's going to compete across 5 different competitions. The floor is higher than just about anybody in the league. But what is their biggest transfer need? Here's what me, the armchair analyst, has to say. Seattle's roster doesn't have huge needs at this point, especially with Travian Souza attacking left back and Leo Burnley, center back. Keep the parade from Tacoma Defiance. Keep going towards the first team. I just had to cook up my own interpretation of that sentence there. The one spot you could maybe pick at is a central midfield. Even though that the Sounders are 6 or 7 deep, still, if you were betting on them using one of those open U22 slots somewhere, that'd be it. Though I wouldn't expect that to happen until the summer window.
Okay, so a couple things that I thought was interesting in this take from a national pundit. I mean, number one, just the sentiment. The floor is higher than just about anyone else in the league. I think that seems to be the conclusion that those on the outside are coming to, which is that, and I think this is what we all kind of already knew, which is that this team has a very solid floor, but the question is all about the ceiling. So, but I think that's sort of where the starting point of the discourse, like everyone understands that the floor is pretty solid and the ceiling is the question. But I think it's something we forget about the roster build, or maybe haven't been acknowledging about the roster build, is I think that's sort of intentional. Like, this is about stacking depth more than about taking big swings for better or for worse. So I don't know if that's just what it made me think about that.
I mean, it's nice to hear that the national pundits think so highly of this roster. I mean, I think we both have been saying that it may not be the flashiest, it may not be the sexiest, you may not be getting that big signing, but all the pieces are there. And if they were going to be successful in this 5 competition season, the floor was more important than the ceiling.
Right. And that informed how they tackled it.
Yeah.
So I think what happened was that was the approach that got taken, and that's not the approach that a lot of people like.
Yeah. Which it's fine to be tilted about that. It does go against the conventional wisdom for if you are competing for maybe MLS Cup or, the regular 3. If you want to win your Shield, your Open Cup, and MLS Cup, absolutely. You want to be as top heavy as possible, and you want those top 3 to be performing in every single game. But you got 5 competitions, God knows how many extra games. The fact that you brought in depth, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
The other thing I thought that was interesting is he name dropped Travian Souza and Leo Burney, which Travian Souza I really had not considered as a potential solution to this attacking fullback thing that we've been talking about for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping we at least get to see that with the first team, just to see if it would work.
Yeah.
I'm curious what he can bring to the table, and that's just a name. But I think both Travian Souza and Leo Burney are names that are not getting talked about at all, that could sneakily be getting more minutes than we realize. Especially Leo Burney, just the way that he's been talked about. But also, if you just look at his, he's the Ivy League guy, right? Yeah. He's all Ivy League smart guy. He's smart,
Mm-hmm.
Went to Penn, right? It's a good school.
Yeah, that's where Luigi Mangione went.
Anyway, those are I think those are 2 names right there that are worth keeping in mind as potential dark horse contributors. I want to see what Sosa can do. I think he could. I think they might be onto something with that. Roca says he ain't ready, needs minutes. Yeah, minutes on the first team.
Yeah, you got to play
him. And then he goes on to say that if he had to pick a spot, it would be central midfield, and that's where he thinks that the open, at least one of the open U22 slots will go.
Which was kind of opposite. Well, Jeremiah did say that was a potential, but he was also saying an attacking type player might be in the world of a U22 signing. Where would you? You're Craig. You've got your bag. You're like, you know what? You got unlimited spend, buddy. Get ready to learn U22 signings. And here's me handing you the keys. Who are you picking?
I mean, I don't know.
Or where are you picking? Not specific player. Sorry.
I think it's got to be bolstering the striker group. I don't know. We'll see what I think what they might be doing here is giving the Moose thing just like one more chance.
Yeah.
They're like we're gonna just run that and hope that works to some sort of Will Bruin type effect. If not, then maybe we use the U22 right there. But I think the more I think about it, the more that's a pretty good place to spend it, because you can take a little bit of a swing, but have it be a developmental player that there's not as much pressure on necessarily. And then if it hits and it looks good, then great. But like if you miss on it, it's unfortunate, but not like the biggest disaster of all time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you, as the resident Moose antagonist, do you have any other take other than striker depth for that?
No, spot? I love a striker depth. Buy low, buy young, buy potential.
Look what the Galaxy did with Jovic.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's like there's so many options of where you can spend that, because that is your 9 is always going to be your most expensive position, right? Like that's just how it goes. Maybe a 10 of like a really good facilitator, but like your 9 is always going to be a pretty penny. And so I think, signing U22, finding a diamond in the rough, maybe finding someone who has that potential but doesn't have all of the expectation on them. Yeah, that's great. I'm all for that. I think that's the best way to do it. I'm wary of a U22 coming in and completely changing the game, but I do think it's possible. And I think that if you're going to sign a 9 and you want to have him for a longer period of time, and I mean, look at Jordan, dude. He basically was paid nothing for a very long time, and now he's the DP9.
You know who I wanted, man, was remember that guy that Pumas had when they were playing in
Leagues Cup?
Yeah. He just got like a huge transfer.
He got exposed by Paul Rothrock and then fucking dipped out, dude.
Nutmegged him. But like that game where Seattle bammed on them in Leagues Cup, he was cooking. Yeah, like before they gave up.
Cesar Huerta, exactly.